look like you feel like you're unworthy of being around. This is something an old boyfriend told me after he thought that I didn't talk enough. Big groups have always been hard for me, especially people that I don't know. I used to tell myself every time I drove up to his house or wherever I went, be lively, say bright things, try hard, talk. But to keep up this front was very hard for me because I would come home still feeling like I don't fit in. I just never knew what to say. And I have this feeling that I'm not the only one that has the same feeling. So I've come up with 3 ways to help being more confident in conversations that you have with people. As a little girl, I've always been shy, and I've grown up a lot since then, but every so often I still struggle with the same kind of feeling, just starting conversations. I've gotten better at it over the years, but the 3 ways to get better at starting conversations would be to learn to listen, be liberal with praise, and to talk freely about your feelings. Another thing that I do when I'm meeting new people is I get really, really anxious before it happens, and I see the new person, and I'm and I get really uncomfortable, and I used to be where I just would be oh, I don't even want to go over there, and then I'm just I'm gonna pretend I'm used to it. Yeah, I was that nervous. But now I just force myself to go over there and introduce myself and everything. So it's better now. But what helps me with that is when I'm going over there is I learn to listen more to the person I'm talking to more. I call it listening with affection. And it helps me a lot because it kind of calms it down, my anxiety. And it just helps because learning to listen with affection has just helped with decreasing arguments, any kind. And just by having the attitude of, oh, tell me more. And instead of interrupting and changing the subject. Encouraging people to talk about themselves makes people feel like you genuinely care instead of just interrupting and changing the subject towards you all the time. As Alan Loy McInnes says, encouraging people to talk about themselves, makes them feel like you genuinely care. One other thing that people may have a hard time with is being liberal with praise. Being liberal with praise can really bring up people's self-confidence in a lot of ways. It can bring up their confidence just by you saying it, but it just makes them feel closer to you too. A little unrelated, but children will imitate any kind of attention that you give them, whether it's good or bad. So the good praise that you give them, that's how they learn to socialize with other kids. And so if you train your mind to find the good things about people, it helps giving people praise unexpectedly, and that's how you show people that that you really do care and that you genuinely care about what they have to say. And that's huge. Wow. The last thing that has helped me be more confident in talking to people is talking freely about my feelings. This one is actually really hard for me. It's still hard for me, but I've gotten a lot better. The reason why it's hard for me is just because I've always been kind of a nervous person about oh, what does this person think? I'm just a huge overthinker. I'm not really like that now. I mean, I'm still an overthinker, but I'm not really the people. I am more of okay, well, if they don't like what I have to say, that's their problem. But now I kind of have the confidence of Well, people need to know what I want to say, because without it, they aren't going to know what I want and they aren't going to know what I need. And it just helps benefit me and it helps benefit them if I'm a lot more straightforward. And the true friends that you have in your life will love you for you no matter what you say or anything. And people come and go, and the right ones are going to stick around. So overall, I think, also, if you are talking way more about your feelings, you're also going to gain people's respect, because if you talk about your feelings, they're going to be like, wow, you shared that with, like, they're going to feel special. They're going to be like, wow, I feel, very special that you shared that with, and just respect for a lot of, yeah. But overall, these three things, learning to listen, being liberal with praise, talking freely about feelings, have all greatly helped me in my ability to talk to people. But the one that really sticks out to me is talking about my feelings. But if I were to leave you with one thing, I would just say, don't let people determine what you're going to do in your future. Just be you.